If you have the EU parking permit, also known as the blue badge on your windscreen, you have certain parking concessions. It can be used in all EU member states. Whether you're in Spain, France or Germany, this permit ensures accessibility for people with disabilities in designated parking spaces. But how does it work and what are the rules? Let's break it down. What is the EU parking permit? The EU parking permit is a standardised permit issued to people with disabilities, allowing them to park in accessible parking bays across the EU. Who qualifies and qualifying medical criteria? The medical criteria for issue of the EU parking permit is strict, and only persons whose mobility is severely and permanently restricted qualify. The primary legislation for the purposes of EU parking permits defines a disabled person as a person with a permanent condition or disability that severely restricts their ability to walk. Who can use it? This permit is registered to the permit holder, not the vehicle, meaning it can only be used when the permit holder is present, whether with the driver or a passenger. A family member, for example, cannot borrow the permit to park in an accessible bay while running errands, even if they're shopping for the permit holder. That's misuse and could lead to serious penalties. When and where can it be used? The permit can be used at any time, but only if the permit holder is in the vehicle. You'll find designated accessible bays marked with a wheelchair symbol. In many cities, towns and villages, permit holders may also park for free or for extended periods in paid parking zones, however local regulations apply. Always check the signage. Some locations still enforce time limits. Penalties for misuse. Misusing an EU parking permit is a serious offence. You could face a fixed charge penalty starting at €200, increasing to €300 if unpaid within 28 days. Your permit could be revoked. You could face legal action and a summons to court with substantially increased fines and/or prison time. And Garda Síochána and traffic wardens have the authority to check your permit, so make sure it's always used correctly. How to apply? In Ireland, you can apply for an EU parking permit through the Disabled Drivers Association of Ireland at ddai.ie. The cost is €35 and the permit is valid for 2 years. Renewal may require updated medical documentation. How to spot a forgery? A genuine EU parking permit includes a hologram, the permit holder's name and photograph, unique identification details. If a permit looks photocopied, faded or altered, it could be a fake. Forging a permit can result in fines of up to €2,500 and/or 6 months in prison. Common questions. Can a family member use the permit for errands? Absolutely not. The permit holder must be in the vehicle. A family member running errands alone cannot use it for convenience parking. Is the permit registered to a particular vehicle? No, the permit is linked to the permit holder, not to a vehicle. The permit can be used in different vehicles as long as the permit holder is in that vehicle. Can I use my permit in any EU country? Yes, an EU parking permit issued in Ireland is valid across all EU member states. What about third countries like the UK? The UK and Northern Ireland recognise the EU parking permit. If you're travelling to a third country, it's always best to check in advance. Visit disabledmotorist.eu for helpful information. Can I use the parking permit in private car parks? Yes, you can use the parking permit in private car parks such as shopping centres, hospitals and other facilities. However, the car park owner sets their own rules and regulations and is responsible for enforcing them. And Garda Síochána and traffic wardens do not have the power to issue fines to drivers who illegally park in accessible parking bays in private car parks. So if you have an EU parking permit, make sure you use it correctly and respect the rules. And if you're travelling abroad, always check local regulations to avoid fines. If you think you might qualify, please visit ddai.ie.